Hello guys, and welcome back to another video. Now, those of you who follow along know how we built this beautiful koi pond. However, I wanted to put all the videos into one long video as more of a how-to step-by-step guide. And also, for me, I loved watching it, believe it or not, watching it back and seeing how it progressed. Not only did the pond progress and we learned from our mistakes and got better and better, I progressed. If you look when I started, hugely overweight, couldn't breathe, really stressed. My editing skills were rubbish. I was doing it all on my phone back then. The mic and the cameras were awful. I hurt myself many times. By the end of it, I'd lost nearly 4.5 stone and my editing skills got slightly better. I brought a new mic and I brought a new camera. So the progression was immense. So if you fancy seeing how we built it and you want to leave it on something a bit longer, because I hate short videos when I'm trying to do some work and I keep having to change the video, put this on, watch the video and enjoy the ride. So I thought I would start taking up these slabs that are in the way of where the pond's going to be. However, it turns out, as normal, it's a lot harder than I thought it would be, and I'll show you why. Turn you around quickly. So as you can see, not only is it slabs laid down, it's on top of another path, which is about 3 inches of concrete, which is an absolute pain. However, unlike last time, we're going to do this properly. It might take a little bit longer, but I think it'll be worth it. So let's crack on. Right, so we've been working on the koi pond today. It's the end of day one. It's been very slow progress, but this is probably the most important part of it, and it's something we didn't do on the last one. The last one we didn't do a concrete collar. This time we're going to. Now, don't forget, this is DIY. It's not perfect. I'll show you around it so we can see the progress so far. Okay, so that's the site so far. Now, we didn't have all the correct wood. I didn't want to spend a fortune on it. So we've done the shuttering like this. These bits are only on top to keep the distance for now, but they will come off when we do the concrete. Now, we've managed to get it kind of level from corner to corner, straight lines, and bit of shuttering to bit of shuttering. However, I'm not sure how level it's actually going to be. It's actually much more difficult than I thought, but we've enjoyed doing it. Me and my wife have done this today. So we've just put these brackets for temporary use. Obviously all this wood will come out at some point. On this path here, we're just going to put a layer of bricks there, build the concrete up a little bit, and then pretty much the same all the way round. We've used any old bits of wood that we can find, and we've done this corner bit out of some scraps of wood. This is exactly dead center. We put a bit of string from corner to corner, that corner to that corner. That was the dead center. So we've dug that out. We are going to position the pipes for the bottom drain. We're going to dig that out first. This is our bottom drain. It's a aerated bottom drain with the air pipe and the 4-inch pipe. So we'll dig that out first. That will come under the shuttering, out somewhere around here. Then we'll fit it back in. We can really tamp that down before we do the concrete. Yeah, it's a slow progress, but progress nonetheless. So like I say, that's the end of day one. Now, the old pond, if you can't remember it, I'll show you some photos now, and I'll show you about how when we took it apart, the rebar was really good and we couldn't actually separate the sleepers. This pond's actually going to be 5 sleepers high this time, so it's going to be like 1 metre high, and we're going to go 20 centimetres into the ground, so it'll give us a total height of 1 metre 20, and then it's sleepers 2x4, 2.4 metres, 2.4 metres, and that will give us, I don't know the volume, but I will work it out, probably 9,000 litres, maybe a bit more, but I'll work that out. Slightly bigger volume wise than the last one, different shape, and we will have the pond window again in it that we've saved from the last one. Day 2 of the koi pond build. Now, as you can see, the shuttering's in. We've got some bags of ballast behind us. I'll talk you through what we've done so far. We've put a little bit of a hardcore into all the gaps and we tamped that down. Got some cement and ballast. We've got our filter back so we can measure out where we need the pipes to come up, which will be very handy. We have made rebar corners to help with a little bit of structural support. what it looks like at the moment. Each corner had a piece of rebar to hopefully tie the corners in. The concrete's approximately 5 inches deep, 6 inches deep, by about 6 inches wide there. We've had to make do with what we got here. We'll put a bit of wood there, bricks behind it, and I think that'll be okay. Yeah, well chuffed. Started digging the hole for where the bottom drain and the pond will go. So once that's set, we're going to dig down another 10 centimetres. The filter house will be somewhere over here, about there-ish. Really happy with that. Absolutely filthy now. Covered in dust. More, looks like more graves, but it's cement. Lots of things have been happening. I'm really excited to show you. And hopefully by the end of the video, I'm going to do a dry run, actually show you what it will look like from inside my house. Okay, so if you remember, we left it off. We had done the concrete collar. The concrete collar has now completely dried and hardened. The bottom of the pond's dried, looks like a riverbed, and that's what we are currently left with. Today I'm going to do a dry run of the sleepers around here. I've got to move them all the way from over there to here anyway, so I thought a good chance for you guys to see what it will look like, and we can check the levels on the top, see what we're going to end up with. So let's get cracking with that. First one in, really heavy, but yeah, let's see how it goes. Well, that was actually much harder work than I thought, and I'm absolutely sweating. Ridiculous. Got suntan also. Ridiculous. So, got my spirit level. Let's have a look, shall we? First time I've done it with you guys with me, so here we go. Right, let's try this side. Not too bad, I'll take that. This side, pretty much spot on. I will definitely take that. This side, oh, again, pretty much spot on. Lovely. And again, not too bad. So let's try the angles. I haven't got a bit of wood. Let's try it from there to there. Pretty good distance. That's from there to there. Again, not too bad. So it looks like overall we might have a slight lean, but that's okay. I'm happy with a small bit. Now the difference is, you might think, where's the other sleepers? I've got one more in the car because I had to get an extra one that go on this side. And this side will obviously have the pond window. We're actually going to have a whole sleeper on top, and then the pond window will go somewhere like here. I think the pond window from memory is 60 centimetres by 140. So it was slightly overlapped. We cut the sleepers in half. Now the reason I have decided to put a sleeper on top this time is because the only place the old pond bowed was from the weak bits, which were cut in half. So with one on the top, that's going to add the extra strength that we need, I think. Now that's a pretty substantial pond, I think. I don't know if you can pick it up on the camera. Let's have a look. As you can see, it also goes a bit deeper there, which I think is going to look really good. So those eagle-eyed of you will notice that the sleepers don't join up on all of the corners, and that's just because I haven't lined it up dead in line with the concrete. Once the wood comes off the sides, I can shuffle them up and it will all be pretty much as close as you can to being square. Over this side's the worst, as you can see. Just need to shuffle it along a bit, and then that will pull into square. And as you can see around the bottom, we've left this little lip, and that's on purpose to add a bit more stability, and hopefully the water will then run off and not pool up underneath that. And if we really want to, when we've taken it off, we can put some nice sides on, maybe some slate, or we can paint it, or we can just leave it as it is. So put some plants around there maybe. But yeah, I think that's the plan anyway, and it's going well so far, I think. Again, like I said, it's all DIY. It's for us to do. It's not professionals, and we all make mistakes and we all do the best we can. So though it might seem counterproductive to put it all up as a dry run and then take it down again, I didn't do it last time, and there were some things that I could have easily fixed, like the levels. I could have put a bit of wood or shimmied or packers or anything that I didn't do. So I've done it now, quite happy with that. Also, it gives them a chance to be single leveled and dry out. Over there, they're a bit damp, so it's better for them to dry out. Then we screw them and bolt them together, put the rebar in, makes it a lot easier. Wet wood swells and it's a lot heavier, as we know. So I think it's going to look pretty good. It's yeah, it's quite large. So there we go, guys. There's a lot to do to that pond still to get it. The sun is shining, so it's the perfect day to do a little bit more to our koi pond. So here we are at the koi pond. It's still exactly how you last saw it. Today, what I want to do is start digging out the bottom drain hole, get it to come out here, ready for the filter. So our filter is already here, the bottom drain's there, the filter is here. Let's see what we can do and how much we can get done today. So let's recap. This is the filter we're using. This is a EazyPod. Now this is a gravity fed one. So the water will come out the bottom drain, it'll go up here, into the top here, then it will come down here. There'll be a pump which will pump it back in to the pond for a return. This is where the wastewater will go, which will hook up to that drain over there at some point. Now obviously, for this to be gravity fed, this filter will have to be lifted up here, so the water level is just around this lip here, otherwise it will overflow. So it's important to make sure, where do we want the pipe to come up with an elbow into this bit here. Last time we had it in a really awkward position, so this time what we can afford to do is have it come under the filter and then up. So let's have a quick look at where we're going to put it. Now what we're going to want the water to come out here, around, and then pump back through the wall here. We're not going to do a bottom return, we're going to do a top return, and I'll tell you why. So like most things in all hobbies, there's a lot of debate about what to do. So if you have two returns, one here, one at the bottom, that's fine. The problem is, in the winter, when the weather's cold, the warmer water is at the bottom. If you've constantly got air going through it, or the filter's running at the bottom, it's just going to mix that water, so then the water's not going to be as warm as it could be. Now, you can put two returns in with control valves, that's completely fine. However, the last pond only had one at the top, worked absolutely perfect. I've got air in the bottom for the summer, so it will aerate, and in the winter you can virtually turn your filters off if you want to. So that's why I do that. There we go. We are going to build a box around this when it's done, hopefully in level with that, so the pipework can come up and round. So the idea is, if we look at this now where it's standing, we want the hole to be dug roughly here. So I guess we can't really put it off any longer. We're gonna have to get cracking on that. So what is a bottom drain, I hear you ask? Now, I didn't know what a bottom drain was a few years ago. However, it was the best thing I did. You can get retrofit ones which go in the pond and suck it up. This, however, in ground is a little bit more effort, however, well worth it. I found that the pond was constantly clear. It had a few fines in it. Other than that, it was pretty decent. I've got an aerated one from the old pond. I'll show you and explain about that, and then we'll get digging. So this part here is the bottom drain. Now, as you can see, I've got a screw that I can't get out there. This is the old liner. It's quite deep. Now, this is an aerated one. So this 1.5-inch pressure PVC pipe will come from an air pump down there, pump it through here, through and out of this hole down here. This here is where all the air will come out, a diffuser, and that will screw in just like that. And depending what fish you've got, you can screw it in as far as you like to make sure your fish don't go through. Generally, I leave like a fingers, just so I can get my fingertips under. I won't screw that in for now. And then what you do, once that's level with the base, we put the pond liner on, we cut a hole. We used My Pond 3000, I believe, to seal this down. As you can see, did the job. That's from the old one. So I do have to clean that up. Then this will go on top, and that will screw down and hold that nice and tight. The water will then flow around the pond, in through those gaps, down, through there, up into the filter, through a UV, back down into the pump, and pump back in. The air is controlled with a Evolution Aqua 70 air pump that you can control the power to, check the wattage, and it will look amazing, and it'll be dead in the center, so it'll look really cool. Hopefully that explains a little bit about a bottom drain. I think they're really good, worth doing. Can't remember how much this was. Quite expensive, I think like £160 maybe a few years ago. Yeah, so let's get digging. So first of all, let's dig the hole in the middle first. As you can see, very clayey, very dry down here. Let's get cracking. Absolutely sweating. One of the hottest days of the year so far. We've dug the main body there where the main bit's going to go. We're now going to drill. The heat's getting to me. We're now going to dig the channels for the pipes, and then the hard bit digging down on the outside and hoping we can make them all meet up. The inlet to the pump is about there, to the filter is about there. The air kicks out to the side, is actually slightly wider than the pond and goes right to the bottom. This sits up, so we've basically got to dig out this whole section to about 6 or 8 inches down. Isn't that great fun? Now for the hard bit, we're going to go through the wall, but hopefully not ruin the concrete. I probably could have done this a better way, but I didn't, so let's see what happens. Slight change of plans. I want to actually dig the hole on the outside first, so when they join up I can see it, and I don't want to over dig, so we'll do this hole. That's where that will be, so I think anywhere around here backwards will be fine. We've hit a massive problem. I'll just show you, it'll be easier. So as we're digging, we can see under here a lovely drain pipe, which obviously goes to that drain, which we thought went the other way, and it's going at an angle there. We must have only just missed it with the koi pond. The only thing I can think to do is bring the pipe up just to the side here, which obviously will be a massive pain. Got to redig that, but I can't think of anything else to do. So yeah, wasted hour. Okay, so I don't know what's going on here. There's a bit of pipe there maybe, but it's broken. Let's just dig it and see if it's attached. That is definitely a bit of pipe. We're going to be lucky. Is this an unused pipe? So it looks like there was a broken pipe, and now that pipe's there. There we are, so that's where we ended up. There is a drain pipe there, and we've got this nice space to hopefully bring the pipe up. The further to the left we can do it away from the corner, the better. So let's get back in the pond and see if we can break through. Guess let's start by filling this back in. Guys, I am defeated. Absolutely dripping, hottest day of the year. I actually can't do any more. I've cleared the little area down here, ready to see if we can break through. A very disappointing video for me, and I imagine for you. However, at least we know we can continue now. I genuinely thought for a minute I was going to have to change all the plans. Could I have done something to check sooner? Probably not, to be fair. They're not on the plans of the house. So these unexpected things happen, but we know what we're doing now. We're just going to carry on digging through there. Hopefully tomorrow it'll be a bit more overcast and I can do another video for you guys. Now this isn't a video I really wanted to make. Unfortunately, this pond is now costing me thousands. I was very down after the last video because of the bottom drain. However, my fish and my dad's have started getting sick. Now it's a race against time to try and get this pond done to move them over. The reason they're getting sick there is they're in a 500-gallon pool. Doesn't have a UV on it, it has a filter and it has aeration, but it's just not coping that well. They're not getting fed, they're getting fed like once a week to try and limit the waste in the pool, but it's not working and we've lost 2 so far, and yeah, we can't have that. So we've put everything on the credit card like you do. I've paid extra to get the things delivered today and tomorrow. We've already had one delivery. I'll do a little unboxing at some point, but the plan is today, over the next 72 hours, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, to get this pond ready and have water in it. So join me on the journey. I'll try and film as much as I can. Let's get cracking. So I'm going to do it in a slightly different order now. I'm not going to do the bottom drain next. I'm going to do the sleepers, attach them to the concrete, build them up. I'm going to get the pond window back from my father-in-law's tomorrow, so I can measure that and cut that in. Then we're going to do the bottom drain. Hopefully the liner will arrive. We paid extra, over £500 for the liner. Yeah, it's actually just ridiculous, the things we do for our animals, but we take the animals on, so it's down to us to do the best we can for them. Okay, so that's all the sleepers stacked up nicely. We're left with one row. We're going to get this nice and square, drill into the concrete with and put some rebar in, and then that will be the base, and we'll build up as we go, and I will show you that as we do it. So we've got our drill bits. We don't need that one. We've got a 12mm masonry bit, 12mm auger bit to go through the wood. We've got one piece of rebar at the moment. So I've squared these up so far. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece of rebar, 3 bits, one in the end, one in the middle, one there. That's going to go through to the concrete. We're going to do the bottom layer through to the concrete, and then the rest of the layers will be through all the sleepers into the bottom sleeper. So it might work, it might not. We'll give it a go. So here's a few tools that we've got. SGS drill, impact drivers drill, 15 bits of new rebar, those bits, the chargers here. We've got 2 more cordless drills on charge in the house as well. Let's get started. So it's not going very well at all. That drill isn't good enough to do that. So we're going to try and drill through with this bolt to sort of pilot drill it first. If not, we're going to have to get a new drill maybe. We have to go to the shop and yet again spend more money. I'll show you what we brought and then we will crack on. This is becoming very tiresome. So we went to the shop and we got this SGS drill. We went for a corded one. It absolutely weighs a ton. It comes with some drill bits which may come in handy. We also brought this slightly smaller set of auger bits. Right, so let's carry on. What I will say is this drill is extremely heavy. Let's go for this drill bit next, which is 12mm. So these are 1 metre long. We want 20 centimetres for that, and I think let's go half, 50 centimetres. So there we go, so that's them in at the moment. Doesn't move at all at the moment, and it's not even joint, so I'm pretty happy with that. So let's just get cracking with the other sides, and I'll join you again once I've done those 3 sides. Okay, so that's the whole bottom row of sleepers in with the rebar. In theory, the hardest part. We've got a couple of little gaps. Got concrete overlapping in some places, which we can get over with some underlay. This one is perfect. This one overlaps a bit too much. We maybe SGS drill that off, and there's a gap here which I don't like, but we haven't done much yet. And as you can see, pretty sturdy. So I'm back off lunch and refreshed, not sweating so much. We're going to put some of the timber lock screws through to the ends, and then we'll move on to the second layer of sleepers. So these are the screws we're going to be using. They're 250mm long with an 8mm hex head on them, so that'll go through nice and far. That's the information for anyone that's interested. So before we carry on with this, we need to remember the pond window is going to go in here. Now, the pond window is 140 centimeters by 50 centimeters. The old pond, the window went straight to the top, whereas this one going to have a sleeper above it for extra shrimp. So let's measure out the middle of this sleeper, and then we can work out where not to put these screws. Right. So we know this is 230.5 inner dimensions, which it is. Half of 230 is 115, and then you've got the 0.5, so we've got 115 there and a quarter. So that's the middle, and the pond window is 140. So let's measure 70 out from each one. This is only rough at the moment. So there, and there. I'm going to put a screw in the middle because we're only going in, I think, 23mm. So effectively, we're going to cut a recess out of this when it's all done. So I can still put these in, but we'll put them towards the front and see how it goes. Let's see. So that's the second layer done now. We're going to do the third layer. It's a little bit different because the front will have to be cut to allow for the window to go in. So I will stop talking, I'm having another rest. It's so sunny out here. As you can see, I'm a big lad and the sweat's dripping off me. So yeah, let's get cracking. Okay, so we cut this one. That one's going to go this side, screwed in. Okay, so there we go. The fourth layer, one more layer to go. Gap for the window, one over the top. Then we're going to, before we do the top layer, we're going to put some rebar in, because this is potentially the weakest part. The top layer has very little pressure. Most of the pressure will go in the bottom against the soil. Then we've got rebar. So that's all you could do really. I think, yeah, let's get some holes drilled. So as per absolutely everything with this koi pond, the drill snapped. So now one of the drill bits is actually a piece of rebar. My wife's popped out to get me another drill bit, so I'm going to do a different part of the pond so I don't lose time. It's like 5 in the afternoon. We've been doing this for God knows how long now, 8-9 hours. Nearly about to call it a day, but we'll get a couple more bits done and then we'll recap at the end. Okay, so as the front's already got rebar in it, we can put this bit on the top, which is kind of cool. So I think we can actually put, this has already got rebar going down here, so I'm going to put a piece of rebar just between these two, because I can do that with the drill bit I've got, I believe. Right, let's have a little recap then. So that is what the front will look like. That's the pond window, hopefully. These are all nicely secure, hardly any movement. Haven't finished with that yet. Obviously need a drill bit for these to be able to finish that and put the rebar in for the top layer. We need to put one rebar in the middle of each. So we need to put one here, and then one here, and then on the top ones we put one at either side going down 3, and then we can concentrate on this tomorrow. So there we go guys, that's the end of the first 3 days, the 72 hours. That's the first 24 hours. Obviously I haven't worked for 24 hours. Everything's arrived. I've got some exciting things to show you tomorrow. That means we will be able to finish the pond if we get to that stage. Got to do a lot of digging tomorrow, a lot of stuff tomorrow. Morning guys, and welcome back to day 2 of trying to get this done in 72 hours. Now yesterday we got a fair bit of progress done, so what we got to do today, we've got to finish screwing the top on and then see what other progress we can make along the way. So we're going to try it a slightly different way today. We brought this new pack of drills, yet again another 25 quid gone. It's got an 8mm drill. We're going to drill it with that first and then do the 12mm drill next. Hopefully it won't get stuck. If it does, I don't know what we're going to do, but we'll give it a go first. So we want it to go through 1, 2 and into the third one, and that just goes in there now. So let's change the drill over, go for the 12mm drill and see if it works. Okay, so the whole of the outside structure is now done. Rebars are in everywhere. It was really hard work, to be fair. Now we've got the bit that I'm dreading, the bottom drain. I'm just going to video it, speed it up, and you can see the progress, because we need to get it done. But it's looking all right so far, and then we'll recap. The strength is actually pretty phenomenal compared to my old pond. So yeah, pleased with that, I guess. Right, so we've had a microphone break, we've had all sorts going on. However, we're about to have an Amazon delivery. Perfect. Actually, it wasn't Amazon, it was Cotswold Koi today. So let's see what we've got in that, and we're going to use some of it now. So this is what's turned up. A couple of 4-inch elbows, the tank flange to go through the sleepers, some cement for UPVC. What we're going to do, we're going to put a 4-inch on the end of here now, and one of them, just so we can put the pipes on the outside to stop soil getting in them, and then hopefully we'll be able to put that in position and then level it all off. So Let's see how that goes. It's important, clean it up as best you can. Scratch the outside and key up the surface. Obviously this has been used before, so it's a little bit grubby. But from previous experience, this does set pretty quickly. Just scratch the surface up, gives it all something to bind to. There we go, that will do for that one. Rest it on there. So this stuff, give it a good shake. It's like most of the others, comes with its own little brush. So what we're going to do, oh, that absolutely stinks. Before we do that, actually, we're just going to key up the inside of the elbow first as well. Just give it an extra. These are the pressure fitting pipes, so they're the extra thick ones. So what we're going to do, first of all, we're going to get absolutely loads and we're going to put it all around the inside of that. Now you don't get long for this to set. Absolutely stinks. And then this side, we're just going to do the same. Slightly thinner layer on this one. Obviously it's a big elbow, so make sure you can get it all the way around. It's important when we put it on, make sure we know the way up we want it, and when we push. And then when you push it on, make sure you hold it, because it can push back, because it's a reaction and it can pop it off. See, that's already set there. That's how quick they set. So wise we're sure that's not going to move. Lovely. We'll do the same with the 1.5 inch. This is for the air. Again, let's just remove what we can. And we've got the little 1.5 inch elbow as well. Key up the inside of that one. We're going to do the same again. And the inside of the elbow, that's quite a lot actually, probably a bit too much. Probably tread on that now. And then we'll do the same on the outside of the pipe. To be fair, I've probably used way too much on that, but I'd rather be safer, sorry. Push that on. Keep it nice and firm. Try and do this in a well ventilated area because it absolutely stinks. There we go. Now you see that? You can't even move it. That's how solid these go. That's those two bits done. Lovely. Right, we're going to do the same thing with this. Give it a clean up first. Do the same with the 4-inch elbow. It doesn't matter if a little bit of dirt gets in there because it will flush through eventually, but the least the better, really. And we're going to do the same thing. We're not going to use as much this time. Dab it off a little bit around the inside of that, around the outside of that. This time, right, we need to make sure it goes in and it's there we go. Make sure that's in nice and solid. Hold that for a few seconds. Lovely. And then same with the 4-inch pipe. Now, I haven't cut these to any specific length yet, and I'll show you why in a bit. Hold that down. There we go. So if we look at that, that is where the air will go. The air needs to finish above the sleeper, otherwise water will come up and this will go into our EazyPod at some point. However, now they're nice, you can't spin them, and they are nice and protected from all the dirt, so we can crack on, fill the holes and get some progress. So we know the centre of the pond is 115 and a quarter. That's there. So we want to move that up that way a tiny bit. Go, and then front to back, I'm not too bothered about. It's slightly off, but that doesn't really matter, as long as it's roughly in the middle that way. Now we know I've put a scaffold board across the centre when it needs to be 134, about 135 at the moment. So, and it obviously needs to be level, which actually is that way. It's on the soil that way, so let's try it. It pretty much is that way. Well, within a distance that we can sort out ourselves. Right, so I'm going to start filling in around the bottom drain and then try and lift that pipe up a little bit. Right, so the bottom drain is in, not level, and then the pipes are all closed in. We've got to close some soil in down there, but I'm going to get this wood off now, moment of truth. So we just level the sides, level the bottom, put some sand in, and then hopefully crack on with the small bits like pipe work and stuff like that. So yeah, let's see. So guys, I've had to have a change of clothes, get a bit sunburnt, also got a cap, which I look silly in. However, just found something which I think is pretty cool in the bottom of the hole. I'm going to show you. So just down here as we're levelling out, we found this. I'm sure some of you will know exactly what this is. So I'm going to leave it to you. Comment below, let me know if you know what this is. I find it pretty exciting. I do a lot of metal detecting. I used to do bottle digging. So yeah, let me know. So all the wood's off the side now. It's not looking too bad. However, leveling it out is proving to be very painful. So that's the level we want, sort of down here. This is 134 centimeters deep. So we're just going to have to go across the whole pond and do that, and I will come back to you once that's done. Guys, we've just come very close to the whole pond being ruined. We've finally got a little bit of luck. Have a look at this. So as we know, we've got the drain that we found that was under there. Well, look what we've got here. The drain goes all the way under this corner of the pond. Luckily, I accidentally hit that. We need to be slightly higher. So, actually, we got away with that. Finally got a bit of luck. So we've worked exceptionally hard today. My wife's helped me in between as well. The battery's nearly running out. That's why I haven't filmed so much. I'm going to give you a quick recap, and then the last job of the day, we're going to cut the recess out for the pond window. So I will show you that now. There we go. So that's all the wood removed. Semi-level on the floor. We've got some sand that we're going to put on the floor and up there. And then tomorrow we're going to sand all the rough bits, get the sharp bits out, put the underlay on, hopefully put the liner in. We're just about to cut the recess out here, and then that will be the last job of the day. So let's get cracking. Okay, so we know the pond window is 140 centimeters long, 121 basically. So we've got 19 centimeters to play with. So 9.5 either side is what we're going to do. 9.5, 9.5, 9.5. Double check them. Okay, cool. So this gap is just under 40. We need to get to 50, so we'll go 5 above. So we know we need to go that. We'll go 5.5 above. That's there. We'll go to 50 down here. Do that in the middle. 5.5 above from there. Go to 50 there. Do that, and then 50 there. Get our straight edge. So what I've done is I've used a spirit level, because actually this is going to look level anyway. So we'll cut this straight. I think they're watching football over there. Cut these straight, we'll put the window in, and then we'll draw the top line. So luckily the window is 1 inch wide, and it just so happens so is this ruler. So we know we've just got to draw around that all the way along. Right, so that's that one done. Not completely straight. We are going to put a load of silicone behind there. That is me done for the day. So that's the second day, technically 48 hours by the time I start again tomorrow. I'm not sure we're going to get water in it by Sunday, but we are trying our hardest. So let me know what you think so far. Like, please subscribe, comment down below, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care. Day 3 of the 72 hours. We're getting there. Things are progressing nicely. We've got to go and get a couple more bits from the shop, which is ridiculous because it's a Sunday. So I've got to wait till 10 a.m. However, I'm very excited. I think we'll make some good progress today. The first thing we've got to do is clean this old pond window, and hopefully we'll get a lot more done. I'm hoping to get to the stage where the liner's in today, plumbing's all done. We just might have to wait to fill it up till Monday morning, but let's see how that goes. So here we go. This is the old pond window that we used. As you can see, gold bits of liner on and grime. So we're going to spend the next 15-20 minutes cleaning that off. I won't put you through that. I will just do a little time lapse. And there we go, guys. As good as new pond window. It's got a few scratches from where it was clean before. Once there's water behind it, it'll look lovely and we can clean it again when it's in. Right, on to the next job. Okay guys, so the sides are sanded. Any real sharp bits or big bits of splintered wood have been taken away. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to drill the hole for the return that's going to come back in the pond. Then we're going to put sand down, move it up the side, along the bottom, level that out. Then the underlay, and then the pond liner. So a lot to do. Let's stop talking and get on with it. This is the tank flange we're going to use there. It's a 1.5 inch inner diameter. I'm going to have it just about there. So it's quite close to the top, but it's not so high that it's going to splash the water, but it will move the water slightly. So let's put that there, mark it first. So we'll put that there. Doesn't have to be exact. There we go. I've got a little hole saw here. Let's see what we can do, if it'll work, if it won't work. There we go, so that's been chiseled out a little bit as well. This is the flange. There you go, that fits all right. Okay, so that's good enough there. So we're going to pull that out, weld a bit of tube to it, stick it through, and then move on to the next bit. Okay, same as before then. We've just got this off-cutter pipe, which is going to be plenty long enough, and then we'll trim it afterwards. Give it a key up on the outside. There we go. Make sure there's no burrs. And then we'll do the same on the inside lip of that. Lovely. Same thing as last time. Nice circle of that there. And then same on the outside of that. And then remember, when you push them together, you have to hold that for a little bit until it sets. Otherwise the chemical reaction can push the pipe and the flange away from each other. That's, you can feel it getting stiff already. Doesn't matter about the excess, that will dry off. And there we go, that's how we do that. Right, we're slowly getting there now. I'm going to use some of this building sand, try and scrape it up the edges before we put the underlay on, and then before we do the level on the floor. See if that works. It's just standard building sand. Let's see. Yeah, looks like it might work. What we want. Right, here we go. This is what the sides look like now. I'm hoping that holds. It's only water, damp. And then when the liner's on, hopefully that holds it a little bit more as well. So now we're going to spread the rest of the sand along the bottom, level it off, and put the underlay on. There you go, the sand is all levelled out at the bottom. Now we're going to put the underlay around the sides, stick the pond window in, and hopefully put the liner in ready. Well, let's go. This is the underlay we got this time. There we go, guys. So that's roughly that underlaying for now. It's not the best underlay actually. Wish I brought a slightly better one, but is what it is. Okay, so we're going to use the My Pond MS300 SMS polymer for this. This is what I used on the last one. As you saw, it stuck really well and it took me ages to clean off. It's incredibly messy and I always get a huge mess on myself. Now this is just to hold the window to the frame, so we're not going to do too much to start with. So we put a little bit of bead down the bottom. Doesn't have to be pretty. Give it a good push. Make sure you can see contact points all the way around, which we can there. Not many on this side, but that will be okay. Plenty on this side. Okay, we're near the end now. We're near the good bit. We're not near the end. Near the end of today. The liner is there, box weld liner. I'll let you guys watch me unroll it. Hopefully it's the right size. If not, I'll just lay down here and bury me in there, I think. Okay, so there we are. That is the box liner. It will, as you can see, it's welded rubber at the bottom. It will look better than this once we pulled the sides up, etc. So what we're going to do now is we're going to find the bottom drain, find this, silicone to the window, and then we will leave it until tomorrow. Right, now the bit I think we all absolutely dread: cutting your £500 liner. Now, the way I like to do it is little at a time. So what we're going to do, we know that's where we're going to cut, so I'm just going to go straight in. And there we go. Right, so we've got a little entrance. Then what we're going to do, we're going to hoover it up. We've hoovered that, so now we're going to just make a rough cut around. If you just follow the rim, you should be alright. Just take your time. No point rushing, because you're only ruin it and hate yourself. Thing is, this doesn't have to be pretty at the moment. It doesn't have to be pretty at all, to be fair. You're never going to really see this bit again. You can see how tough this liner is, so you can, It's not going to tear easy if you get something underneath it. Right, so that's that bit done. Now what we're going to do, we're going to wet this cloth, we're going to go underneath here. We can stick this back in the air hole just to make sure we don't get anything in there. Right, now what we need to do, get our MS300 and we're going to put absolutely loads and loads under here. I try and do like a figure of 8 around the screw holes, but keep a huge blob. Hope you can see that. I'll go around the screw holes. So now the important part, spread the liner back out and push down slowly. It's better to have excess liner around the outside than crumpled on the inside. Get our little cloth. Push that down gently, don't go crazy with it for now. You want to be able to see and feel a bead of MS300 all the way around. Right, now we've got our ring. You don't put any silicone on this side, make sure it's nice and clean. Now this is the only real tricky part, because we have to locate the holes. So let's get the first one in. Once the first one's in, the rest should be relatively easy. We don't want to do it up too much right now. Let's just locate them all first, and then we go from there. Now for the horrible bit, just wipe all that excess off. I like to wipe it around underneath, push it in the gaps, just not ideally down there. Right, nothing wrong with that. We're going to do the same thing with this little one. Here we go, so that's what that looks like when that's all tidied up and nice. Looks good. And here we are with the worst one of all. Now bear in mind, I've only done this once before, so we've got to pull it up, leave some slack underneath. We're going to staple up the top. I think we've just got to go for it. So we just chuck a load of silicone in, push it up against it, and then trim it when it's dry. Let's start at the top. We're going to do one big bead on here as recommended on their website. Pat it down, don't push it too hard. You still want a thick bead of silicone under there. So what we've done is we've put a nice bead of silicone around that. We've taped that to stop the liner sliding down to it's tacky. We've got an old scaffolding board that we've wedged there with a towel on, rubber on here, pushed that down nice and solid, so that should hold the window in place for tonight, and that should set nicely. Well, what a 3 days. All I can say is thank you all for sticking with me. It makes it somehow less annoying, less stressful, knowing that you guys are going to join me on the journey. I am kind of proud of what we've done so far. It's never going to be perfect, it's DIY. It's looking good. Tomorrow we will rig the plumbing up, start filling it up and see if there's any leaks. Leak test is always worrying. But I think we should be okay. Done exactly how I did it before when it didn't leak in the old pond. Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. So it's now the Monday after the Sunday. The sealant has dried on the windows and the bottom drain. We're now going to fill it up just a little bit above the bottom drain, leave it overnight, see whether it goes down. If it doesn't, then great, we know the bottom drain is fine, and then we will move it up past the pond window. So let's take a look at it, guys. Okay, so this is what we've got so far. We're going to move this bit of wood, move that out. We're going to take the bit of plastic out the bottom and fit it up a little bit, and hopefully it doesn't leak. So let's do that now without dropping it. Press that there. And then see if we can lift this out. There we go. And then let's hook the towel out with the rake, because I can't bother to get in there because my back hurts. We've also mounted the control unit there and put the wire up in the loft. We haven't actually wired it in yet, but we got that back today. So we've just put it there ready for tomorrow. So let's see if we can get a bit of plastic out without making, there we go. That's out as well. Get the hose pipe, put it round to that setting. There we go. The first water going into the pond. Exciting times. So what we've done is we filled that up, not a load, no air coming out of the bottom drain at the moment, so that's a good sign, there's no leaks to start with. And we've just covered, you can see where the ripples are, where the liner lifts up slightly, and we've just stopped the water just as it covered this one here. So if the water goes down, we'll see the liner sticking out of the water in the morning. You can see down here, I think you can see down there, water at the bottom. I don't think you can see down this one, no. But that's a good sign. So what we're going to do tomorrow, we're going to get in there. We haven't filled it up too much, so we can still pull the liner to the side, flatten the bottom out a little bit. You can see it's not completely even at the bottom, but it was never going to be fair. We'll trim the window up in the morning, carry on filling it, and hopefully by the end of the day we'll have the filter, the UV all set up, and the pond will be circulating. I think it's going to take a fair few hours to fill it up though. So yeah, I'll pick you back up in the morning, get a good night's sleep, See you in the morning. Okay guys, so it's the next morning. Let's go and see whether the pond has leaked or not. Fingers crossed it hasn't. So let's take a look. There we go. Not gonna lie, I did look through my dining room window, and I saw that it didn't look like it leaked. I hadn't seen it up close. Now there's no ripples at the bottom coming out of the water, so I'd say that was a good result. Right, what we're going to do now, we're going to carry on filling it up. I'm going to get in here and trim this window. Yeah, and we're going to add the aerated bottom drain to it as well. So let's get on with that, and then we're going to actually try and put the filter on. Okay, I'm in the pond, and what I can tell you is this water is freezing. So let's get this done quick. So that was a horrendous job. As you can see, it's getting quite deep in here now. So we're going to put the aerated part of the bottom drain on. So that just goes onto the threaded bit and spin it round. Now, like I said before, I like it just so I can get my fingertips between the bottom drain and the aerated plate. Just so any small fish you get in there won't go through, but it's big enough to let most debris through. So it's nearly there. It's already set from the old pond. There we go. So that's perfect. For me it is. Obviously if you've got really small fish, have it set a bit lower, but generally that's big enough for any debris to pass through. So onto the next part is just going to pull the sides up a little bit and flatten out any creases in the bottom that you can. Why is it still durable? To be fair, there's not many creases that need doing. And then once it's filled up a bit more, we'll actually pull the sides up as much as we can. That's a crease in that one. There we go, pond window. You can see it's already, the water's going to stop there. This isn't stop the water. This is try and not have too many flappy bits because the koi like to get under it. That will set underwater anyway. Aerated bottom drains in. Pull most of the creases outside. Now all we've got to do is let this fill up and we can get on with the filter on the outside. Okay, so we want the water level to be anywhere from here to here. Now the EazyPod needs to be set so the water doesn't overflow the top of the EazyPod and it maintains the same level as the pond. So this is the EazyPod. If you look in here, this level here on this lip is, you want the water level just below that, so you want it just to sit just under here. So if it overflows, it goes in there, but you want it to be able to spin without hitting that each time. Now that is approximately, I'm sure if you go online there's exact measurements for this, so we're going to say that's 6 centimeters. That's where we want the water level maximum. We want the top of the EazyPod to sit, how many is that, 2 centimeters above. So that's fine, that's easy to work out. And the thing is to leave the platform too low, because we can always add shims to it to raise it up. So that's where we want the water level. So the overall height of our EazyPod is 58.5 centimeters. Now we're going to take the 6 centimeters off, because that's where that line will start. So we want to measure 52.5 centimeters from that line down, and that's where we will do our platform. So that's the water level there. The 6 centimeters going to be above it. Then we're going to have this 52.5 below it. So that's the mark where we're going to build the platform. Now I'm going to try and use some offcuts of wood. We've got sleepers and stuff. That's 40 and a half. The sleepers are 20 centimeters high. So 2 offcuts of sleepers on top of each other will create a nice platform to come across. Then we just need to worry about this side. filter quickly and show you. So you see these wrinkles at the bottom as it's filling up. Don't leave it to the end. You want to get a bit of the pond material and pull it gently. Not too hard because you don't want to rip it. Until you see the wrinkles come out of it. You're never going to get it perfect, or I can't, unless you're building it out of blocks and fiberglass and all sorts. That will give you a good enough edge, and then when you get to the top you can sort the edges out and the corners. But if you just go around, do that on all the sides to start with. Okay, so the platform is built. It's not the best thing in the world, but I think it'll work. So let's either filter up and see whether it will even fit on there. We'll obviously have to cut the pipe in bits. Let's have a look. Actually feels pretty secure, actually. Quite pleased with that. So we've got to cut this pipe back because this is the inlet. Right, so we've got to try and get this coupling will go on here, and then we'll connect it to this, and that will connect to the UV. So UV will go, it will sit above the pond, but we are going to build like a little box for it at some point. So UV will be about there probably. Same as before. So that line, I don't know if you can see it, that line there represents where the pipe pushes up to. So we know if we put it there and cut about there, we've still got a little bit of room. Get as much as we can out there, we don't want that in the pond. Give it a little sand. Get rid of any burrs. Same as before. Just cleaning it up. So this is on and off. So that's on there. That will be off. That will want to go on there. Do the same thing, just clean this up on the outside and inside. Lovely. That's going to go on there. Do the same on the inside of the elbow, just key it up a little bit. We're going to do this a little bit more sparingly than last time. So we're going to go on the inside of the elbow, and then we'll do this side first. don't know if you can see that. We'll go around the outside of that. Lovely. Push it on. I'm going to hold that. Keep hold of it for a few seconds. There we go, lovely. Then this will just fit on there as well. Same thing. On the outside of the pipe. Make sure you put that on before, otherwise you won't be able to get it on and it'll ruin it. Give it a good push and hold. Oh, don't want that to get on the threads. Okay, I'll put this on quickly. So these do have a flow. The flow is going to come towards, because this is the return back into the pond. Just do it up a little bit for now. Just want it there so I can measure where the UV will go. Okay, so UV will be there. Right, what we're actually going to do, we're going to reuse this bit of wood that we cut out for the pond window. We're going to mount these up here, and then we'll mount these to the UV, and then we'll screw it on when it's level. That's one. If you don't do them too tight, you will break the plastic. You could obviously spend much more money and make these a bit neater, but I think we've spent enough at the moment. If I remember rightly, does it go on? I think it goes actually on the thicker bits there. You can always adjust them once they're up. Lucky PVC has quite a bit of play in it. open and closes all right. Some of this horrible stuff on again. Right, let's be quick with this one. I've turned the water back on the pond as well, so hopefully we can do this before it fills up. Right, let's stick all the wires in now, and then we go upstairs in the loft and sort the rest of it out. Right, it's always good to have your stickers and labels handy. Right, so the first one is the pump, and that is this wire here. Unscrew that little green bit, put your little wires through first. Make sure that little tiny black lug there stays on there, because that's the thing that compresses the wire to make it watertight or weatherproof. Then you have to unscrew these. Unscrew this little one. I like to unscrew the whole thing. Spin that bit round. Then thread that through there. Try not to snap any of these bits off. It's all fiddly, like there we go. That's through. You can actually, I'll do that, it'd be easier. You can undo these so you get the whole. You can take the whole board out. Which might be easier. Just let you drag the wires for a bit more. Right, there we go. So we've got earth is the green and yellow. Obviously check. If you're not competent doing it, don't do it. But if you can wire a plug, you can definitely do this. However, if you can't wire a plug, then I wouldn't attempt it. go neutral in the middle, which is blue. Push that in nicely. So the first one, interestingly, is 1,000 watts. You can put heaters on it. The other three are 300 watts. Right, the next one is the UV, which is this wire here. Next one would be for the air pump, but we haven't got that. That's at my dad's with the pool, so we will leave that one empty for now. And then the very last one is our swim skim 25. Right, now you've got them in. Just pull each wire back slowly, not to get it stuck, and not to rip them out. Lift those black bits up now, spin them round. Put this bit back on. Tighten up these. Lovely. Now that's done, you can just pop that back on. Right, they're all tightened. Now slide the caps back up, screw them on. You have to go crazy with it, just finger tight. Oh, look at this, guys, moment of truth. The water has just, I don't know if you can see that, the water has just reached over the pond now, the window, sorry. Can't see any air bubbles come up, so that's a good sign. It's getting nice and full. Doesn't seem to be any bowing. Looking good so far. Check that side. Looking good. Right, now we've just got to mount this control panel. That will do for now. Slide that through under the UV. Right, that's on there. So this is for the, that's the main one. That's going to go under everything. That's the UV. And this one is for the, what's it called? The pump. We'll try and mount this one onto this existing piece of wood like this. That's on there. Okay guys, the moment of truth is nearly here. Not quite yet, it's still filling up. I've got a lot of tidying up to do, and by no means is it nearly done. We've just done the basics. We've got to do lots of finishing touches. There's definitely going to be some leaks on the plumbing, there always is, so I have to fix them. Check the levels of the filter, put some filter start in it, and the chlorinator. Not there's going to be any fish in there at the moment. So I'll pick you back up when there's a bit more water in it. See you in a minute. Now it hasn't filled up that much more, but I did think, whilst it's filling up actually, we can check the electrics work and put our swim skim in there and get some of this muck off the top before it enters the filters. So we'll give that a go, shall we? Unravel it. Annoyingly, there's no sponges in there, so that's a pain. Right, let's try it, shall we? Right, let's try it again. Nice. I can float around now. I'll go and see if I can find the sponges. At least that electric work. That's a good thing. So it looks like the water's about to come over the filter. Let's see, is it? There we go, it's starting to trickle in. Cool, there it comes. So far the only place it could possibly leak is around these bits. And down this pipe under here, there's no leaks there yet. It's not quite reached here. However, that tap's off for now. Everything's off so we can try and work out if there is a leak where it's coming from. So the next thing to fill up will be this. This is off and this is off. However, these gate valves aren't very good, so it may come through anyway. So let's let that fill up for a bit. It's getting there. Swim skim in the middle. I'll come back in a sec. Right, it's above this gate valve now, the waste gate valve. No drips coming from that, I can see. So that one is okay. You can see it's coming in quite fast now. The next thing to fill up is once it gets above that little rim down there, it'll go over into where the media is. That will fill up, and then in turn that will cascade down here. However, I have blocked it up for now, and I will decide when to release it. Just started entering here now. Now this hasn't got any drips here. That is closed, so it won't be going in there yet, so that won't fill up that much. However, here is now pretty full, so I'm going to actually take this bit out. See what happens here. Okay. This is the bit that you use that when you're doing a cycle to clean it. Right, so I can't see any drips at the moment, none on here, so we're going to open this. This is where it always leaks, so let's open this. Exactly, every time. Right, let's see if we can tighten that up. There you go, that shows how utterly rubbish these gate valves are. That is closed and it's still trickling water. However, I did find out what the problem is. Do you remember earlier I had an O-ring up there? Didn't think it might have come out the pump. There's not an O-ring in there. So we're going to add an O-ring, put a bit of grease around it and see if that works. So we've put the O-ring back, used some of this 100% silicone lubricant, and by the looks of it, it has stopped. Right, so that's done. Check anywhere else for drips, doesn't look like it. So now I'm going to open this one here. See if any drips come up there. Doesn't look like it. Give it a few seconds. Check under here again. Looking good. Right, let's turn the pump on. Interesting. Not quite enough water for that yet, unless we put it on really low. There we go, put that on low for now. So this is the very pump, so that shows how many watts we're using. This is what speed we put it at. So it's pretty cool bit of kit. Just let that circulate for a second whilst we check for any more leaks. More leaks by the looks of it. Looking good. Check over here. Nothing here. Nothing under there. As you see, we've got movement. So this is the NT Labs claw go we're going to use, and we'll try this filter starter gel. I genuinely think these are absolute rubbish and probably don't work. I've used them in past pond bombs and stuff. However, because we're going to have to put the fish in here sooner than we wanted, I'm going to try anything I can. So we're going to check whether the UV works. Yeah, there we go. So UV's still working. However, because we're going to add this, it recommends turning the UV filters off. And we're going to change the bulb on this as well, just to be safe. So this says, dosing, shake well before use, unscrew cap, pour contents directly onto filter media for best results. You cannot overdose with filter gel. We advise additional oxygen pump via an air pump. Well, that can't happen yet anyway. Always perform regular water tests. Turn the UV off for at least 12 hours. Okay. Right, let's do that then. Right, although there's no fish in there, we are going to use this declaw for now. I don't know why, just to be safe. So 10ml is 364 litres. Crikey. I think this is about 7,000 something litres. I'll work it out properly later. So that's 200ml we need to use. Jesus, that's a lot. Alright, let's go. Right, here we go then. So that's 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140, 160, 180, 200. Right, that will do for now. And then we're now going to add this gel. Not going to lie, that's not exactly what I thought it was going to look like. That's going to stick to the media and allow it to colonise rapidly, apparently. Well guys, the pond is full. I actually feel a little bit emotional, a little bit relieved. No leaks other than one we saw and we fixed. The water level looks okay. There's a few things I probably would have done different, but it's miles better than the last one. Hasn't exploded, hasn't gone all over the garden. Yeah, I think knowing that I was doing it to show you guys as well kept me powering through. Took us 4 days, 5 days really, instead of the 3. But yeah, really pleased. Thank you all so much. Again, subscribe guys. There's still much more to do on this pond, so if you want to see it to the end, you've got to subscribe. Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. What a busy few days we had. You will be all caught up now and know we have water in the pond. Took a couple of days more than we wanted, but we got there in the end, and it's amazing that you guys joined me for the journey. So what we're going to do today, a little bit of a short one, hopefully not quite as stressful. We haven't got any leaks, thank goodness, but we're going to do the air pump. We've been and got that from my dad's. We're going to cut the tube to be able to put the air through it and tidy up a few little bits, wire it in, etc. So join me for hopefully a nice easy one with no mistakes. Okay, so what I'll do first is I'll catch you up on where we are. We've got a net that's on it ready for the fish. We are going to be doing a fish in cycle as well, which I will explain in the next video. So this is where the water drains. You pull that up and it drains. So previously we had this pipe, this gutter going to a drain, and then we had a gutter with a drain coming off the extension there. So we've connected that with a drain pipe going all the way along. That now goes into the drain, and then what we've done is we've put this upright pipe where the pond drains. So that goes in and down, and there's actually like a little collection cup in there for any big debris or leaves that may go down the filter. And it does work, I promise you. I'll show you. So we pull that up, you should be able to hear it. Can you hear that? Draining away nicely. Lovely. Let's turn that off before the water drains out. Okay, so what we're going to do today, this is the air pump. It's the Evolution Aqua air pump AP70. Pretty powerful, too powerful if anything, for just one bottom drain, which is why we let some air go off in other places. So we're going to take this off, but before, we're going to have to cut this down, put this elbow on to be able to connect the air to it. So we'll do that bit. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is chop this about here. It's important this remains above the water line, otherwise the water will come up and then come out of the air hose. So we're just going to cut it just to about there. That should be plenty, because then you've got the width of the elbow as well. Okay, so first of all, same as before, let's just give the edges a little rub down, clear out that, try not to get too much in there, because this is obviously the air. And then we've got this part, which is what we've cut off the other piece of the old one. So this was on the old pipes, and then what we've got to think is this is going to go on there and this will go here. Right, so it's going to be the same as before. We're going to use this stuff. We're not going to use quite as much this time, hopefully. Right, same way. What we're going to do first, we're going to do the separate part. So with this, just round the outside like that. Used absolutely loads again because I'm ridiculous. And then the inside of the elbow, and we're just going to do that by running that round. That should be plenty. And again, now what we're going to do, we're just going to push them together and hold them tight for a second. Make sure they're lined up. It's not crucial they're exactly lined up, but hold that nice and tight just for a few seconds. Get rid of any excess. Lovely. Then we're going to do the same on this part. So we're going to go round there, and then we're going to go get some debris out of there. Then we're going to go on the inside of this one as well. So we've done that. Then we're going to the back here, so make sure you've got it where you want it to go, and then push it down and hold it. Shouldn't have to hold it for too long. Again, I like to just wipe away any excess. Okay, so we've got the control panel from last time. That is all turned off, so we're not going to electrocute ourselves. We just need to slide it off, and then we're just going to do the same as before. We've just got to undo all the screws. Lovely. Pop that back on the holder. Like that. So that's that first bit. Now, I've gone into quite a bit of detail, as much as I can, with the whole pond build, and one of the main reasons was, when I was building my pond, you could find people building the pond, but they didn't explain how they did certain parts, and those were the bits that I needed to know. So I've tried to go into as much detail as I can, but of course, if you need to know anything else about any of it, just comment, and I'm happy to tell you what I know. It's not a lot, and it is DIY, but you know, together we might be able to work something out that works good for everyone. So, right, now we are going to go and turn that on, check the air pump works. Actually, before we do that, we're going to change the UV bulb. I've got a new one. This one hasn't been changed since I last used it, so let's put that one in now. This is the Cockney Koi Algae Master 25 Yamitsu. So this is just how you do it for this one. It's really simple. We've isolated the water there for the return to the pond, and from the EazyPod, some water will still remain, but hopefully not much. Make sure it's all turned off electrics, and it is. And then what we're going to do, we're going to first of all loosen this screw. You don't need to take it all the way off, if I remember rightly. And we're just going to pull that, and that will expose the bulb. You're then just going to pull that bulb out. Use some pliers. That slides out nice and easy. There we go. It's probably fine, that, and I will keep that as a spare. But I'd like to keep a new one most of the time. As you can see, you've got that there. So I used the Pisces one, not a branded one. They were quite cheap. Can't remember how much it was, but you've got two in the pack. It does exactly the same job. As you can see, the colour difference between that one. Does it show up on camera? Yeah, it does. So you can see the bottom one is much darker. So what we're going to do now, the first thing you're going to do is obviously be careful. Slide that in, and we're going to want to locate it into its holes in the other end first. There, so you'll feel it click and push that in. Now this bit can be a bit fiddly, so make sure your two holes there are going to line up with that, and then when you push, you find them, which we have first time, which is good. Push that on as far as it can go, and then whilst you're still pushing it on, do this screw back up, and that is how easy it is to change a bulb on the Cockney Koi Algae Master 25. So hope that's helpful. It sounds daunting, but it's not. It's really good. Right, let's go and turn the electrics on, and then we'll give it all a try. Power's back on, and the pump is working fine, so that's done. What we need to do now is connect the air pump, and hopefully that will start working. So with the EazyPod, you've obviously got this, which connects to the EazyPod to be able to do a clean, and then you've got this, which does your bottom drain. So you need this little divert valve. Okay, so we've got ours set up like this. We've added this little tap and these little pumps, so we can let off some of the excess air, because it does pump out quite a lot. Right, so our air pump is down there. This is the hose coming from the air pump. We now need to connect this to this air fitting, like so. I've got some PTFE tape around the bottom of that to make it a bit snugger. And then we're going to attach that to there. And hopefully take that little bit out. Pop that bit in there. And that bit in there. And then this little valve with these taps are gonna, it's got an on-off switch there, and then these taps where you can control how much air comes out. We're just going to leave that in there like so. Right, let's run through that again. So air pump under here, we've got the air hose coming out there. This comes up to here to a Y piece, and then into the bottom drain. This then comes off here and goes to the EazyPod. The EazyPod has its own on and off switch. We've also got this, so we can discharge any extra air that we don't want. So let's see if it works. Air pump on, light's gone green, so that's good. We need to turn that off, and then we just need to wait to see if any air comes out the bottom. And then what you'll do when you're doing maintenance or a clean, you'll turn your pump off anyway, and then you'll insert your little bit of plastic into there. We're not going to do that for now. And the way I then do it is I'll turn this off, so all the air will divert to this, and it will start mixing up all your media, etc., and that will give it a good clean. Then when I'm done, open that back up and the flow will return back to the pond. Now, the reason the flow does still divert and you don't need anything on here is because air will take the path of least resistance. So it's a lot easier to get to this than it is to 1.3 meters of water. So the air pump's working, well, that's good. The only thing we need to check now is the UV. So let's turn it on. Perfect, so that's working as well. So UV done, air pump done. That isn't leaking, which is ideal. You can see the bottom drain there, that's the flow we've got at the moment. That's how I like it. Also got the swim skim working for now. So like I said guys, a nice short one today. So we've changed the UV bulb, that's working well now. We put the air pump in, that's working, we've got air going to the pond. We now can clean our filter and do a cycle with that. We'll go through that on another video. The only thing left to do now is to get some fish in here. Like I say, we're going to do a fishing cycle, a seeded fishing cycle, and I'll explain what that means on the next video. Hi guys, and welcome back. It's the moment we've all been waiting for. The pond has settled in nicely. We're doing a seeded fish in cycle, and I'm going to tell you what that actually is. And we're going to see the fish and they're going to feed, and I'm really happy. All I need is a beer and I can sit down and watch them. You've joined me for all of it, so now join me for this last bit. Nearly the last bit, we've got some finishing touches to do. So what even is a fish in cycle? Fishing cycle is simple. You put fish in when the water needs to build up the bacteria. Now a lot of people do that and they do it incorrectly. We've got to remember, cycling isn't a seasoned pond. Cycling is just getting the beneficial bacteria going. Seasoning takes 6 months plus. That's when the beneficial bacteria are built up. But also there's a nice balance in the pond. Everything's, you know, you do a little water change, but the pond is balanced. It doesn't affect it greatly, and the fish are healthy and happy, and there's a nice thriving ecosystem. Now I believe this is the quickest way to do it. Now I've cycled aquariums by adding ammonia, Dr. Tim's ammonia, which is really good. However, with a volume this much, it's a bit much to ask. We had to move the fish urgently, as we knew. We ended up losing 3 fish, which I'm absolutely gutted about. Most of them survived. A few had ulcers, which we've treated. We've treated the whole pond as well. So the way we've done it is we've got the fish in, but what we did is we feed them. We need to build up that ammonia, the waste. That's what creates the ammonia, and that's how the bacteria gets started. So what we did is we put the fish in and we feed them just a little bit. Once a day we were feeding them, and we're testing every day for ammonia or nitrate. Now I'm lucky here, my water in my home has very little nitrates in it at all, so that means it was easy to test. Now the reason I'm testing for nitrate so early is normally what you'd see is ammonia going up, then you stop feeding. You wait for either that ammonia to turn into nitrite, but if the ammonia goes above 0.5 parts per million, you need to do a little water change. You don't want that to go above 0.5, in my opinion, with fish in. If you didn't have fish in there, you get it to go to about 2 parts per million, and then you add ammonia or waste to keep it at 2 parts per million until you see the nitrite come up and the ammonia go down. Then what you would see is nitrite would go up, and then you'd see nitrate come up and nitrite go down, and eventually you wouldn't have ammonia or nitrite. Now the bonus I've got, and this is the best way and I recommend it to anyone, is doing a seeded fishing cycle. Now the way you do this, you need a pond that you trust, or you could cycle your own media. I used a little bit of the media from the other pond, only about a litre or so of the K1 media, and I mixed it in with the media that was already in there. Now the advantage of that is it already has beneficial bacteria, so there's already a small colony. So ideally we shouldn't see any ammonia, we should just go straight to nitrate. I'll let you know whether that worked or not. Now it's important, if you're doing this, make sure you get the media from a source you trust. You do not want to get it from somebody's pond and put it in your pond, and it creates all sorts of problems for your fish. Also, some shops will let you have it. Again, if you trust the shop, go for it. If not, it could be more problems it's worth, and it's not worth the hassle. I wouldn't have done this way if I had the choice. I would have probably had 3 or 4 fish in there to start with and still done a fish in one, but let it go for 4 to 6 weeks and do it that way. But as we know, I needed to rush, and the weather has turned extremely warm, so I'm glad we did do it in time. So that being said, let's have a look at the pond. So as we know, we added some of the pond gel to the pond. Now there's no point putting that in your pond unless the bacteria that are allegedly in those bottles are being fed an ammonia source. So you've either got to put fish food in the pond and let it rot to create ammonia, or do a fishing cycle. Now actually, when we added that pond gel, about 4 hours later, I added 4 fish. Then I think the following weekend from the last video, we went and got all the rest of the fish, and then we've been monitoring daily, checking on it. There's a nice bit of algae growing. The UV filter was off for a while. We went through the bacteria bloom where it goes all milky and creamy. That's disappeared. The water's cleared up lovely. There's algae growing. And I'm happy to say we didn't even see an ammonia spike. We gone straight from fishing, only feeding once a day, keeping an eye on it. UV filter's on now, so the water's cleared up. And then we waited and we waited, and we've actually got nitrates in our water. So we didn't see ammonia or nitrites, and that's purely because we seeded the filter already. We basically brought over a small amount of seeded filter, put it in there, and that's helped us skip the process. Now, I think that's pretty beneficial. The negatives are you don't know if you can introduce something bad to your pond. It also, you have to limit how much you're feeding. You don't want excessive waste if you bombard it. You got to remember, just because there's fish in there doesn't mean it's creating waste. If the fish aren't getting fed, they're not producing waste. So the more you feed them, the more waste you're going to get. So once a day they've been fed, but we're going to start upping that to 2 times a day, especially with the hot weather. We're also using Medicoi prebiotic feed, which is what we were using previously, and I quite like it. Now 2 of them have had ulcers. We've treated that. We've used an ulcer swab by NT Labs. We used propolis on top of it, and then we treated the whole pond with actiflavin as well, and they seem to be healing. Luckily the water quality is pristine here, but we have done a few 10% water changes just naturally. I like to do that at the beginning and then narrow it down. We have been cleaning the filter every 3 days. In the hot weather I need to do it every 3 days. It's only a small filter. In the colder weather, once a week, if that. You can tell by how much debris is in the filter. So we got away with the filter cycling just about. Like I say, it's not seasoned yet. We need all the equilibrium to come into balance. That's the algae growing and stop growing. We will get hair algae at some point. We'll just take it off the side. It's a process. It takes 4, 5, 6 months, and that's completely fine. The main thing is the fish are in. You can see we need some finishing touches around the edge. The bricks are holding the netting. We've got to do that. We've got to build a filter house. There's plenty more videos to come on this pond. Although saying that, the next video probably won't be about this pond. But we've got other projects. We're going to build an indoor pond. We're going to house some pretty special fish in there. We're going to convert the garage into a fish room. We've got to drain the abandoned pond. We're going to build another wildlife pond. So much going on. Now, all those videos, the previous 7, were actually filmed within a week. It just takes me ages to edit. That being said, your response has been amazing, and I appreciate every single one of you. This one is actually 6, 7, let me think, 8 days, I believe, after the last one. So the fish have actually been in for a little while, and I've been enjoying them again. So let's have a look at what the fish look like. So that's what the pond is looking like right now. All the fish are hiding because I've scared them. I'll go and get some food so we can feed them. The water is pretty clear actually. You can see all the way to the bottom there. See some of the fish. Aerated bottom drain is working perfectly, and there actually hasn't been any leaks. So let's go and get some food and we'll see all the fish in their glory. Let's see if we can tempt them with a few pellets at the top, get them to come up to the window, and then we'll have a look from the top side. This is the food we've been using, just if you're interested. Let's see, are they going to come? Here they are, they're coming. There we go. So the big gold one was one of the ones with the ulcer. There's a mirror carp. As you can see, quite a few of them have turned completely white, which is annoying. A few have put on some absolute size. There's the orange and white one. The mirror carp had a few marks on them, healed up lovely. And there's one, looks like a bit of a goshiki, and he's the one with an ulcer on his tail, but we have started to heal that, and it's doing all right, to be fair. So we've had a look through the window. Let's see if we can get some decent footage from the top. So that's the view through the window. Like I say, pretty clear considering that goes all the way to the other end of the pond. You can pretty much see the whole bottom, bit of glare on there. You can see the carp at the back and the front. I think pretty impressive, to be fair. And like I say, there's a few ulcers, there's a few fish that have seen better days, but ultimately I'm pretty impressed with how it's turned out. That's another one with the ulcer underneath, as you can see, one of our bigger ones. And the plan is to get a couple more bigger ones, and then when we build the wildlife pond, to hopefully move some of the smaller ones into that pond so we can get a nice balance of fish and sizes. But we don't know when that will be. That's one of the ones that has turned majorly white, but the black has started coming back. Now, obviously that's to do with water clarity, hardness of water, pH of water, and all of the above. I'm not an expert, I don't know what affects it most, but I do enjoy seeing the colours, and that's why we don't spend thousands on our koi, but we do love them still. So there we go, guys, we are done. We've got fishing. Amazing, that was our goal achieved, and we saved most of them. I'm really sad we lost 3. However, we've learnt a lot. So I kept saying to you, this pond has cost me thousands, but actually, how much did it really cost? Let's have a look. Okay, so I made jokes about how much it was costing me. I say jokes, it was costing a lot of money. So let's go through it one at a time. So if we're starting with the collar, we had the wood that went on the outside, and that cost us £80. We then used 14 bags of pre-mixed ballast and 3 bags of cement to make the concrete collar. That cost us another £70. So then we had to buy the sleepers. Now, I only needed 19 sleepers, but like an idiot, I cut through one and I had to buy an extra one. Now, we got a deal on the sleepers, 20 sleepers for £20 each, so that cost us £400 in total, and there was about 40 quid delivery, but we won't include that on this one. So then, once we started building the pond, we needed the rebar. Now the rebar wasn't too bad. We bought 15 lengths of 12mm rebar, a metre each, and that cost us £58.99, £59. Then we needed all the timber lock screws. You remember the 250mm screws that went in the edges and down. Now we used approximately 150 of them. We used some second-hand ones as well, and they cost us £75. Not cheap, but I think well worth it. Then we had the cost of breaking the drill and the drill bits. So I bought a new drill, that was £80, $79.99, and then 3 Arga drill bits, they were $19.99, and we had some drill bits left over from the last build. So then we get to probably the most expensive part of it, the box liner. Now that cost me £503.26p. I think well worth it. probably double the price of just buying a liner and folding it in the corners, but I like it, so we'll go with that. Also, just as I'm going through this, does anyone know how to block my wife from seeing this video? I'm not sure she knows how expensive it was, neither do I, or did I do now. So the underlay was only £28, but as we discussed in the video, it was absolute rubbish, and I wish I'd spent a bit more on that underlay, but it seems to be holding at the moment, so hopefully that'll carry on working for now. We got the net over the top, that was £26. Then we had all the extra elbows and pipe work and the PVC weld, that was another £65 approximately. So for the purpose of this video, I'm going to include the cost of an EazyPod, the bottom drain, the window, and all the other bits, because that is effectively what you would have to spend, and I have brought them before. So I've looked up the prices that they are currently. So the pond window would cost me £318 if I was to buy it today. I don't think I spent that much. I think I spent 200 and something. Now we obviously got 3 tubes of MS300, which was £45. That's what we sealed the window in with, and around the bottom drain and the tank flange. We've then got the EazyPod Air. Now that comes with the air pump and the actual EazyPod itself. That is now £649. I think I paid 500 and something when I brought it a couple of years ago. The aerated bottom drain, when I brought it, was £165. I couldn't find the direct replacement for it now, so we'll put that down as the price. We had to buy some bottom drain screws. They were only a £5. The Cockney Koi UV filter is now £154.99. I didn't pay that much. I think I paid £124.99. Then we've got all the pipe work that was already attached with the elbows. I've just put that down as a nominal £60. Now, I don't know whether you think this will be a lot or a little, so make sure you comment whether you think it was worth it or you think it's an absolute waste of money. I think it was worth it, but it's my pond and I like fish. So the grand total, if I had brought everything new, there's probably additional things that I haven't, and the damage I've done to my leg, it comes to £2,813.23p. Now, if I minus off the bits I already had from the last pond bill, it was an additional £1,466.24p. So it's cost me 1,500 quid basically to redo this pond. I think it was worth it. It depends how long these sleepers last. I think if we can get 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years out of it, it's not too bad. Only time will tell. We are going to treat it, and we still haven't finished, have we? We've got to do the filter house, we've got to do the bits on the top to make it look very nice and pretty. We're going to put some shingle and plants and all that rubbish down as well. Not forgetting we brought dechlorinator, medicines, etc, etc. So we've probably spent a good couple hundred quid more than that. Now, like I say, are you surprised? I'm a little bit surprised. Don't tell my wife. Now, how much would you pay for a pond? What's the most you would pay for your pond? Most of you guys have got ponds. I've seen them on your YouTube channels and they look epic. Drop down below how much you spent on your pond, just so we can see. It's not a competition, so don't be mean to anyone, but I'm really curious to see the range of ponds that we have, from little tiny ponds in the ground, little no dig ponds, up to massive koi ponds. There we go, guys. That was how we created this beautiful pond that I absolutely adore. Now, there's always room for improvements, but this is DIY. Don't let anyone bring you down. Enjoy the hobby you're in. Now, that being said, there were 5 major things that I wish I had done or knew before I started it, and I've done a separate video for those. So click on this here and find out our 5 top tips before you even start building a sleeper koi pond. And until next time, take care.